Hi, this is Bertha again. I believe you're enjoying the class. So far, so good. We are going to talk about PCI DSS. Yes, it's going to be very informative, and I want you to stay glued to your seat. Let's do this. So every time you swipe your card, tap or use your card number online, you expect your data to stay secure, but who is making sure that that happens? Today we break down PCI DSS, the global golden standard for credit card security. If your organization accepts credit card payment, this video is not just important, it is essential. Yes, PCI DSS is one of the best frameworks that you would ever get. So I believe that by the end of this class, you would be very familiar with this. What is PCI DSS? PCI DSS stands for Payments Card Industry Data Security Standard. It is a set of 12 essential requirements developed by major credit card holders like Visa, MasterCard, American Express, JCB to protect cardholder data and reduce payment fraud. It matters because credit card data is one of the targeted types that cyber criminals use. So if your business stores, processes cardholder data, you must comply with all of this framework, and it is very important that if you don't comply with it, you would be actually compromised. PCI history. So in the early 2000s, each card brand had different security rules. This made compliance so messy, so they joined forces together to create one unified PCI DSS. So we have PCI 0.1, 3.0, now we have 4.0. So PCI 4.0 was introduced for more flexibility and risk-based approaches. Yes, so this is why you need to really know PCI very well. So cardholder data lifecycle. So cardholder, to protect data, you first have to understand how it flows, step-by-step data. So data is entered into a POS or an online data, transmitted securely, sent to a payment gateway, authorizing it. An issue bank approves or declines the transaction, confirmation can be returned, and then this data is encrypted and retained temporarily, right? And if this data is not being used, it has to destroy. So we have CDH, that is the cardholder data. We have the PAN, and we have the SAT, and we have the CVV. So we have a lot of these things. So we have the PAN, we have the CVV. You need to note all of these. These are sensitive area. The PCI requirement is actually one of the best area that you need to pay attention. The foundational requirements, think about your security commandment. It's like a commandment, right? So it's a 12 commandments. We have firewall data protection, making sure that organization install firewall, and then make sure that there's no vendor default password. So when you have any system, make sure that you are not defaulting, you've changed the password. Also make sure that you have antivirus solutions and you're updating it. You have systems and apps that you patch this every day. Also, you restrict data access. Access should be on need-to-know basis, and you need to design things like multi-factor authentication. Also, make sure that your physical security is intact, and make sure that all systems, all processes, and you conduct regular scans. Also, make sure you have a regular security policies in place. It is very important because PCI compliance levels are very important. These 12 commandments, businesses are not the same. So maybe you are harboring a lot of credit card information. Your compliance is very important. We have level 1. So for a level 1 person, you need to have a certain specific compliance. Level 2, you have a specific compliance, and level 3, level 4 too, you need to comply. So in this role, when you are performing a PCI assessment, you need a QSA, a qualified person, to conduct a step-by-step audit. So this audit helps to prove that you are following the rules. And here is how to prepare for the audit process. You identify all your systems that store terminates cardholder data. You make sure that all these systems are protected. Your policies, your processes, your standard are working. In that way, organizations, when the QSA comes and they test, okay, do we perform vulnerability scans? Do we write reports? Are we running phishing simulations? Do we have the best policies? That is where you thrive. And that is where, when they do the audit, they are actually going to pass you. So a qualified security assessor is certified by PCI DSS. And this actually is a trained professional who comes to your organization to perform this assessment. So during that time, if you are an internal auditor, you'll be working hand in hand with the skill as a person, and your goal is to make sure that your organization is actually passing PCI. So make sure that in terms of PCI, your organization have the right firewall, you have the right security controls, you're performing vulnerability scans, you have multi-factor authentication, you are protecting your organization from daily attacks. And once you have all of this documented, you are actually going to be ready for PCI. So in terms of PCI audit, never wait. Make sure that your checklist is ready. You are performing network scans, your systems are encrypted, you are collecting logs that, when the auditor comes and is requesting for it, you are actually going to prove to them that you are actually doing the right thing. You are training your users who handle this information to note that they need to make sure they comply with the PCI regulations, and also keep yourself updated. So why do you need to understand PCI DSS? You need to understand this as somebody who is going to work in a space where your organization handle PCI. You need to understand what the framework is, a step-by-step guide on how you can perform a PCI audit. So now you know that the 12th commandment is actually requiring you to do things like make sure that your organization have the latest antivirus solutions. Make sure that your organization is encrypting the cardholders' data. Make sure your organization is performing vulnerability scans. Make sure organizations have the right trainings and processes and policies available. So if your organization doesn't have it, that is where the gap comes. That is where you work with your engineers, you work with business owners to implement all of this to ensure that you are actually moving forward and you are passing your PCI audit. This is not just a checklist, but it's also to make sure that attackers do not invade credit card information of your customers. Imagine your customers' sensitive information is out there. That also means that your reputation, you are losing clients and you are losing money. So if you have learned PCI and you understand it, I want you to take away this key step. PCI is for organizations who collect credit card data, who collect cardholders' information. It is important because attackers use this information to shop online, to withdraw money and do all sorts of things. So it's important that if you're a security analyst, you're a security auditor, you understand what PCI is, how it works, and how you can actually help your organization stop PCI fraud. Thank you so much. I look forward to seeing you in the next class.